companies charging $500 for ripped jeans, but a 3X is going to break the economy? Please! It is not about fabric cost. It is about your bias. People exist in all shapes and sizes, and they deserve to have quality clothing that fits them. And you know what's actually dumb? Ignoring a whole market of plus-size folks with money to spend because you're still clinging to a thin-centric business model like it's the 1900s. Newsflash, size inclusivity isn't charity, it's demand. And if you're going to pretend that a few inches of fabric is going to bankrupt companies, you are not making a business argument. You are exposing your hatred for others. Oh, also, I am the economy.
Well, what a way to start off this video. Today we are diving right back into plus size fashion, and I have with me Mel once again because Mel is an expert in this area. So Mel, can you reintroduce yourself to my audience and explain exactly why you're here to talk about fashion and what makes you the expert?
Hi, Lydia. Thank you so much for having me back on. So I actually got my degree in purchasing. One of my mentors is currently the VP of a multi-billion-dollar box store for, I think it's the or the purchasing department. And I have worked for years in various different roles within textile production, not as much in fashion because that was hard to get into. And now I have been a purchaser at a multi-billion dollar chemical company for a couple of years now.
So lots of experience in this area.
Yeah.
So that first TikTok, Morgan comes in like really angry and is claiming that it's all about personal bias. Now we have a whole lot of other videos that have more detail, but on the surface level, do you believe that stores don't extend because they're fat phobic, or is there like an economical reason as to why they don't extend their sizes?
Oh, so the big reason that if you see something not in a store, and this goes across everything, it's almost always because it won't sell. If stores are, there's things they could do that would be less scummy, but they are not a charity. And if it's your money on the line, are you going to have a bunch of stuff? Are you going to buy a bunch of stuff that is just going to go to waste? Like, I'm not going to. No buyer is going to. So if you're not seeing things in stores and maybe they previously were there and they stopped being there, it's because they weren't selling. If they aren't in stores right now, even though America's fatter than ever, it's because their very well paid researchers are saying it's not going to sell.
So it's not has nothing to do with ethics or I don't know, being inclusive. It's just bottom line driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody who works at a company that makes most of America's uniforms for
Hmm.
various companies. And they have patterns for all of the stuff. They have as standard 4 extra small to 4XL. So outside of that, there are so few people that just even keeping a standard pattern doesn't make sense. And part of that is because once you get out of that tolerance, it's really hard to predict what the person's actually going to look like. So they're going to need something custom anyways.
Yeah.
So be a 4 extra small or a 4XL if you'd like to get completely custom clothes for your job. But that's just what the range is of what sizes people are going to be.
Hmm.
And then beyond that, you have to make something custom. But I've talked to the person at that same company, and she said that part of the other reason is just because they just don't sell. And this was a larger lady. I don't really go into guessing people's sizes, but she's very much definitely buying plus sized and not just the size 16.
I always wondered about plus sizes, how they can make them and make them fit because like if you think about to like Tess Holiday and Glitter and Lasers probably weigh similarly but have very, very different bodies.
Yeah.
Like,
That's that's part of why a lot of the stuff, because this is ready to wear that you're making, a lot of it looks like a sack. And that's partially because you don't know where somebody's gonna hold their fat at. Like
mhm.
actually making plus sized patterns is my specialty within because originally I wanted to be a pattern maker before I got into buying. And I wanted to make stuff that I could wear. Why would I make a size 6 if I don't have a mannequin and I can't put that on me?
Right.
Um, so that's just what I got into, and I got pretty good at it. And every person is just going to hold their fat differently. Like Have you ever seen those people who have like a very like round torso and then they have like stick arms and legs? Like they're
Yeah.
just holding all of their weight on their torso and none of it on their legs.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw this lady on TikTok that has all like she has a big B apron belly, but her legs are like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. Waist like skinnier than mine, but just with a huge apron belly. Like all her weight went there.
Yeah, like there's only so much variation that like your skeleton is going to provide and
Hmm.
like there's only so much muscle that you can gain. Um like so if you're a straight sized person, you might have to size up because your shoulders are too big.
Yeah.
But what always annoyed me is that I carry more fat in my arms. Or maybe I just have these big biceps. Um but I carry a lot of fat in my arms and I have like these big water wings because my genetics were like, don't worry, you're never gonna drown. Um and so nothing like whenever I get out like a shirt, it would always be too if it fit me everywhere else, it would always be too tight in the arms and like you'd see like these like stress lines because like it's like
Yeah.
and it's fitting me like this.
Yeah.
Um and it's not because no one knew how to make something for a plus sized person. It's because their tolerances and the fit models and the studies that they have done to design what their size chart should be, or that somebody
Hmm.
did not take into account my water wings.
Exactly. Lots of variation as we go up in the sizes. So I always thought it would be a hard job to be a plus size pattern maker just because it's like it's not one pattern, it's like several different ones to make every single different type of body when you get up to that size.
Oh yeah, I always had to bring people in for multiple for like at least one extra fitting for plus sized than
Hmm.
I might for straight sized. Like when I made something for this very petite woman one time, I think that she had given me the wrong measurements, and this was early on, so I was inexperienced. I did not think to take the measurements myself because people lie.
Hmm.
Um, and the only alteration I needed to make was that I had to add in some extra fabric on the sides. Um, with my plus sized clients and friends that I've made stuff for, and even myself, I have taken as accurate as I could measurements, and I could not get it to fit right without trying it on the person multiple times.
Right. It's an important step as we're going to hear about from these other creators. So the next video I want to get into, we're going to go back and forth between plus size people complaining that there isn't clothing available, but also I want to hear from the creators that say that they can charge the same price. Because I think that, I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like these small brands are eating a lot of the cost themselves. But I want to know Mel's point of view on it. So let's get into the first one of a creator who who makes clothes and sells all the clothes, no matter the size, at the same price.
I actually do know how to run a small business. I've been running my small business going on 6 years now. Not only do I have merch like sweatshirts and t-shirts and hoodies that I get manufactured, but I also have my own designs where I am creating my patterns, drafting my own patterns, cutting the fabric, making things custom made to order. So if anyone would know how much it costs to create clothing, create accessories, it would be me, because I'm doing it from scratch. I'm drafting it from scratch. And I've had this conversation multiple times, numerous times. It does not cost exponentially more money to create plus size clothing than it does standard size clothing. If you actually look at the patterns, like if you look at a pattern for a t-shirt and you look at how much more fabric is needed for a large versus an extra large, it is inches, it is centimeters, it is minuscule. So if we are going off this basis and this idea that larger size people, plus size people, use more fabric and it's more expensive, then a small uses less fabric than a medium, which uses less fabric than a large, we do not incrementally increase the price of a small, medium, large, even though it uses more fabric. So why are we doing it from an extra large to a 1X to a 2X to so up. So I want y'all to get out of this idea that it costs exponentially more, that it costs so much more to make clothing for plus size bodies, because it doesn't. It doesn't use It doesn't use a shit ton more fabric. And even if it did use more fabric, the price for the plus size clothing and accessories does not equal the amount of fabric, the extra yardage that it would take that you would need. And I'm not even sure why you're coming at me. I don't even know if you listened to my video. I was advocating for what Cardi was doing. Like, both Samira and Cardi. I'm not choosing sides. I'm just explaining very clearly that companies should take into account plus size bodies, and they should offer plus sizes because plus size people will buy them. Like, I am advocating for plus size representation. I don't think you understood the video. I don't think you understood what I was saying. But what you're not gonna do is come to my page and insult me and be rude, be negative. We're not doing that. So get it together. Learn about clothing and manufacturing and sewing and design. You stop being a troll. You stop being fatphobic, and think before you leave a comment on my page, specifically when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Have a good day.
So this small business creator thinks that there isn't a big price difference in manufacturing, that we need to learn about sewing and all that. But Mel, you know all about sewing and fabric sales. And can you say that what he said is correct or incorrect, or what's your experience with this?
So my first take is just that like I found his thing to be very goalpost moving because I have been quite large. Not like a 4X or something unless we're buying Chinese sizes, but I've been quite large. I've been cut out of the mainstream fashion community and all of that. And the complaint from plus size people has always been that the clothes cost more, not that they cost exponentially more. So like, yeah, of course it's not going to bankrupt a company to make the clothes a little bigger. I'm going to pass that cost on to you. Like it's only going to be a few bucks. And then what's going to happen is Samira's going to go online and complain about how my clothes cost $5 more for the 5XL t-shirt than they do for the straight sized one. Like it's like, so just even from the outset, it feels like he's moved the goalpost. Also, a yard is inches of fabric. If you really want to talk about it, it's 36 inches. That's inches of fabric. Like, um, but I'd love to see what are the clothes that he's making because that will really change.
So he said, I believe in there that he does manufacturing and he does his own pattern, so a little bit of both.
Hmm.
Um, Now there are like these printed sweatshirts and stuff, which I assume he's getting manufactured. I'm not sure. And he's
Yeah,
pricing
he's
them
getting
at
those manufactured.
like 60, 70, $70. And that is the price I believe that he's using for everything. It says all the way from 2 extra small to 6XL, and the price does not change.
Could
So,
probably cut it down a little bit if he had if he had a smaller range of sizes. Like that might be against his ethics, which it's his business. He can do whatever he wants. But some of the cost you're seeing there is unsold sizes.
right. So would you say
Assuming
like,
and everything I'm saying is assuming that he's running his business in a way where he's being profitable.
right. Like, is it possible that he's making money on like the sweaters and t-shirts if he's at a 5X, if he's selling them for like $60?
Um, he's so the what he's probably doing is let's say that you have because these might be done as two separate runs, his straight sized and plus sized. I'm not entirely sure.
Hmm.
Um, they might have finally gotten factories on board with doing the plus sizes in with the straight sizes, but probably what he's doing is averaging the cost of all of the items. So let's say that is also that stuff at the bottom, that's probably what he's actually making. The rest of it he's just getting made. But like the duster right there, that's probably the stuff he's making. And it's really easy to say it's just inches of fabric when you're basically making a bunch of rectangles.
Yeah.
Um,
Also
but for
notice that this stuff is
his
expensive, right? Like this
yeah,
stuff is really expensive. So I have a feeling that he's not making anything on those sweatshirts. He's making his money on these.
yeah. And but with the sweatshirts, like let's say that it cost him It cost him $40 for the plus-sized ones and $30 for the straight-sized ones. He's averaging it and making it 35 each, or whatever his
Yeah.
actual numbers are.
Yeah.
But that $550 duster, if you're going to charge me $550 for something that is as easy to make as a bathrobe, you better charge me the same if I'm a 6X as you do the 2X, because that is so expensive. Like, maybe what can you click on it? Well, I want to see what the fabric is.
More kind of tulle fabric with embroidered.
Yeah. So it's, those 3D embroidered fabrics are fairly expensive, and there's a lot of fabric there. Some portion of it is that, like, okay, yeah, obviously big corporations can be evil and they just want your money. I'm not doing anything if it isn't to get money. I'm not doing anything professionally unless I am getting paid for my work, right? We're all working like that. So some of, like, the stuff you hear about, like inflation and things, that would happen even if somebody's not being greedy. But you could probably cut a little bit of cost off and get your customer to come back more often if you weren't charging $550 for a duster. Like, this is like, I had, like, skimmed his website a little bit, so I knew that what he was making is essentially a bathrobe, but I hadn't looked at the price, so I am just shocked.
That's how he's
And,
making it
like,
work. Because like I
yeah,
couldn't explain the $60 sweaters or sweatshirts or the $25 t-shirts, but if you're making up for it by charging $550 for the duster, yes,
yeah.
that's how we make
And
business work.
everyone does things like that. Like, if you were just working on, like, in a theoretical space, how you're supposed to charge things is you get your stuff from your middleman, and he's put in his markup so that he can feed his family. And then, let's say that it cost me $50, and then I'm gonna charge it whatever the market will actually bear. But if I want it to be if, like, the typical just, like, go to, like, markup would be just doubling the price,
Hmm.
because I gotta pay for the air conditioner, I gotta pay for the lights, I gotta pay my employees, and then I'll have a little bit of money left over. But that doesn't actually work out, because what you charge is what the market will bear. So, like, let's say that I have a boutique and it's like a general store or something. The like, local art, I might be breaking even on that. And I have it there partially because I want to sell local art, but also because that might bring in a customer.
Right.
Um, and then I might have something like some rolling pin that is essentially an over glorified giant dowel. And that only cost me a few bucks to have made, and I'm charging you 50 for it. So, like, you try to even everything out so that everybody can still get paid and you can have a little bit of money left over. But $550, he's losing money on everything else and he's making it here.
Right. I also want to note that he only has color as an option, not size. So this is a one size. So I mean, like I know it's just a robe, but seriously, could this actually fit all sizes?
No. And, like, if you
I'm
put
thinking
it
the back. There's no way
onto,
that the back is going to be big enough for like a.
yeah, is there a back picture of this?
Let me see. Let's go through. There. This isn't much.
Yeah.
But you see, there's like a
Like,
sleeve. Like a fat arm is not gonna fill. Is not gonna fit in the sleeve nicely.
yeah, no, my big water wings. And here's the thing too, is, like, because I did, like, a lot. I love kimono, so I did a lot of stuff with them. And you have to have, like, a straight size and a plus size, um, because, like, if it fits my one of my friends, who I think he's, like, in women's dress sizes, he would be like a 5XL. Um, it's gonna, like, swamp my very petite friend who is a size 0.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's one of the problems with one size fits most, is that everybody's different, and, like, he's saving so much money by having exactly one pattern. And it looks great on him in his model photo right here. But
Yeah.
it's not going to look voluminous and aesthetic on me because I'm a larger person. It's going to be, you're going to get to a point where it's going to be, you're going to look a little like Chris Farley doing the fat guy in a little coat thing.
Well,
Like,
your arms would fill the sleeve. It wouldn't have the same
yeah,
look. And it's he does not make it in both size. Like there is no plus size offering. So
yeah,
that whole thing about being size inclusive, like yeah, I'm like, but not completely and not on your custom pieces. You just said that you would make your custom pieces in all the different sizes, but it doesn't look like you do. It looks like you just make one.
yeah. And so, like, part of that too that really frustrates me with that is that he's like at $60, he's not having that made at a factory down the road from him where they're making a bunch of money. He's having that made in a sweatshop, and they probably handled it's probably he got, which you should, the like if you're trying to be a profitable business, he probably got pre-made hoodies from like somebody and then had them like screen printed or however the like design was done.
Hmm.
Um, and then he's charging $60, which is probably, I guess that's fair. I don't know what they're going for these days or what like he bought in. But it's just like he's opining on work he didn't do,
Hmm.
like, and pretending like he did when what's clearly probably one of the only pieces he has that he's actually making himself. Uh, he doesn't have multiple sizes on it. He wants to say it does not take drastically more fabric. Hang on, let me grab a pattern real quick. Okay, so this is, that's a blouse you could find reasonably at a lot of places, right? But so and pattern sizes are different from like sizes you'll find at the store. So these are all straight sizes, but it goes 6 to 22. And um this isn't going to be perfect because when you cut things out, you're cutting out all the sizes at once. But the size 6 for this design that they have big right here, the B, you need, if you have 45-inch fabric, you need 2 and 5/8 yards for the size 6, which again, probably a size 0. For the size 22, which I think is a size 16, I don't remember, you need 3 1/4. So you have like 2 and 5/8 to 3 1/4. That's like half a yard, almost a little bit more than half a yard. Um, I probably just said completely the wrong number. It's whatever that actually is. That's a few bucks. And if I was charging what I'm supposed to when I'm doing just a math problem, I probably bought, let's say the fabric was $5 a yard for me, and it's going to cost me an extra $3 plus whatever extra it costs in labor to have it cut out. So it's going to be before the like manufacturer even gets it to me. The plus the 22 is going to cost me probably $5, maybe even $10 more than it cost than the other size. Um, and so he's like opining on stuff whenever he's just buying a bunch of stuff and then putting like screen printing on it or something. Who knows if he's even doing that or if he's having a factory do that, which also a fine thing to do because they can do it more efficiently.
Right. Exactly. So I'm gonna have to stop that share and do a different one. I want to move on
Yeah.
to the next TikToker who also claims that she can sell everything for the same size or the same price, but I think that she's losing money. So, or this plan is not, it doesn't scale in my opinion, but I want to know
Yeah.
what you have to say. So let's listen to the next one. She speaks for quite a bit.
A couple
Yeah.
TikToks go viral lately about how I try to price my clothing brand so that all of my sizes cost the same amount. And I recently had a sale on only plus sizes, and you guys have been loving it, and I'm so grateful. But I wanted to take a moment and talk about how I'm able to do that because I have gotten a lot of comments asking, isn't it more expensive to create plus size clothing? So let's break it down. The largest cost overall from production is not actually.
So I'm sorry. I'm laughing because you're having a sale only on your plus sizes. You have it. That is marketing spin for you have so much extra of your plus sizes that you need to get rid of stock.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to stop.
it's okay.
fabric. When you're buying in large quantity, when you're buying wholesale fabric lots, the overall cost of fabric is negligible. So yes, a larger size of pants may cost a little bit more than the smallest size of pants, but at the end of the day, the fabric isn't actually the most expensive thing. What's more expensive is the construction. That is the most expensive. And then also all the findings and details and the time it takes to create those patterns. So overall, when you're looking at creating a plus size pattern versus a straight size pattern, you're not technically paying more for it. The reason a lot of companies consider it to be paying more is because they are lazy and they cop out after making that smaller size pattern, and then they just grade it up and they're like, why doesn't it fit? I don't really care about larger people, so fuck them, and I'm just going to keep adding inches to the sides. That is not how you make a larger scale pattern. What I found in my pattern production when I was working on my pants collection was that at about a 2-3x, the body starts to change in proportion and needs different amounts of space and different amounts of material in different areas. Adding that material is not making the production cost larger. It isn't enough material that I'm adding to change the actual cost that goes into creating that garment. The money really comes into the time one is putting into that process. But in my opinion, if you're going to go as far as to make a straight size pair of pants fit straight size people really well, then you should be doing the same amount of work to create plus size pants that are creating pants that fit plus size people really well. So in my mind, it's not lost money, it's not lost time, it's part of a problem that needs to be solved. Another pushback I got was, well, plus size pants take more fabric, so you're ordering more material, so this looks like it should cost more. But the way clothing production works is you are only given a yard of fabric per whatever, and you can cut that pair of pants out of that yard of fabric. At the end of the day, I'm not able to fit double pants on the yard of fabric. It's only 60 inches long if I'm lucky and I get a wide width, and so usually I'm still only getting one small pair of pants or one large pair of pants. The main difference is the leftover scrap fabric at the end of the day. There may be less leftover scrap fabric on larger sizes than there are small, but at the end of the day, it's negligible, and since I'm using those extra pieces to create smaller pieced items like hats, jackets, vests, etc., I'm not really too concerned with what amount of yardage is left over because I know it will equal out. There has to be a place for little pockets. Maybe I'm cutting the extra small size material into the vest body. Maybe the pockets are coming from the larger size excess. So at the end of the day, it really evens out. And the only real extra cost that a lot of companies are pushing back on is the development to create clothing that fits plus size bodies better. That's where people are lazy. That's where, in my experience in the fashion industry, being run mostly by straight size and skinny people, there was a lot of pushback and lack of interest in actually developing and looking into why clothing isn't fitting people properly. That's what I'm trying to do here. And so I wanted to explain a little bit about why I find it okay to charge the same amount for the same sizes. Like, yes, at the end of the day, the size 6X versus extra small has much more fabric, but I also am able to work out the pattern so that I'm cutting a 6X with one panel of the extra small on the side. There's always ways to play Jenga with fabric. There's always ways to play Jenga with patterns, to view little puzzle pieces, to make things make sense and make things more ethically and more sustainably with less waste. It's just that takes time, that takes consideration, and a lot of companies aren't willing to do it. So at the end of the day, they throw in the towel with plus sizes because they just don't want to take the time to figure out how to make it work better. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is Hester Sunshine signing off.
Okay, so I like that you pointed out early on that yeah, she's having a sale because she can't sell those items, and that's most likely why she is having a sale. I really disliked how she was trying to frame it as it's ethical to put the investment in making the plus sizes, but she also confessed to it is another product. It, like, if you're making another pattern, you need another fit model. She's framing it as an investment instead of just saying what it is. It's a different product. So why aren't you charging for a different product? Like, if I had a store and I look and I see there's dress pants and there's jeans and they have two different prices, it's because they're two different products. They're two different products. They were designed differently. They had different models. They had, like, those are two different products. So I see, like, regular size and plus size, it's a different product. Why do I don't agree with this at all, that she says we should blend all the costs together when the products aren't the same. Anyways, what are your thoughts?
Like, I mean, yeah. Also, I am actually a little offended by a person who looks fairly straight-sized saying that the people doing all this are just lazy, like, and that's why they don't want to do it. Because I kid you not, I have interviewed at multiple major fashion companies, so many, and every woman who ever interviewed me, there was probably 50% odds that she was plus sized. Like, it's like it feels very much like whenever somebody who has gone, like, and I looked up a little bit of her resume. She's been on, like, Project Runway. She has a successful clothing line, so she's doing better than I am in the fashion industry, or at least a continuing clothing line. I don't know what her financials are. And that's not me being shady. That's just, I don't know. But I didn't really see anything like she worked at Macy's or J.C. Penney or somebody. And those companies, they're the people who are lazy, or who are too lazy and too fat phobic to put in all this work. And it's like, I'm telling you, a fat woman wants to be able to buy the clothes that
Mhm.
she's spending all this time on. Like, it's like, yeah, this stuff that she's saying people are too lazy to do is research and development. And money spends way faster than you think it should. Um, if you have to go buy this stuff, you're like, why does everything cost so much? Even if you have the financials of exactly why and how much a company is making off of it, it's insane. Like, I regularly will cut a PO for like 60 grand for something that it's like that doesn't feel like the right number, but it is.
Mhm. I
Like,
was thinking that her business model does not scale like at all.
no.
She's using words like investing in, I'm like, you mean working for free? Like
Yeah.
all I can think of is like her pitching her business on like Shark Tank or something. And when Kevin O'Leary gets in there and he's like, "Well, how much are you paying yourself?" First question,
Yeah.
how much are you paying yourself? And to me, it sounds like she's making the plus size patterns for free.
Yeah.
Like
You
if
know, you know what I caught? Like, as somebody who, like, my focus was pattern making, because that's the thing I love doing the most in sewing. Um, she said that she can fit a extra small panel next to in the waist from an extra large. Like, do you know what she's doing there? She is cutting things out like this. Like, she's doing it one at a time instead of layering out dozens of layers of fabric and cutting all of and doing hours of work to figure out the exact way to lay out, and it's called nest all of her pattern pieces to get her like waist down to like 90, as close to 99% as possible.
I'm gonna play that little clip of this is what Mel means by how they cut fabric, right, in the industry. Okay, so I just wanted to play that because you were talking about it. And like
Yeah.
how many layers of fabric would that be, Mel?
Oh, I can't. I'm bad at estimating, but like whenever I did it for industrial, we were always doing 10 layers at a time.
Hmm.
Um, that's probably like 20 shirts he's cutting. That'd be my guess, would be like 20 layers. It
Hmm.
might be more. It's hard to tell without having the fabric in front of me.
Right.
Um, but yeah, you're cutting a couple dozen layers of something at a time.
Hmm.
And if you see like that the like pieces of fabric that he has like a chunk
Hmm.
of that he throws off to the side,
Yeah.
it's not like all of that's glued together. It's all loose. So are you gonna go, if you have a giant piece, are you gonna go pick up those 30 giant pieces and waste time like restacking them together so that you can cut pockets out of it? Like, her
Yeah.
her thing, like, if she, let's say that she became an industrial, like she's doing like manufacture for like Walmart. She just got a bunch of orders to get into, let's say, Walmart or Macy's or whatever store her dream store to be in is.
Hmm.
She's going to have to outsource that, because the way that she has told me in her video calling like major companies just fat phobic and lazy, the way she's told me is that she's doing it in the least efficient way possible. Where
Right.
she's like, she's spent no time on nesting if she has enough fabric to be able to cut out a whole vest from the waste fabric.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring up her website because I also found something very interesting. Went on her website and her stuff is expensive, okay?
Yeah.
Like this mini skirt is $235. Um, and this is where it gets worse. Her t-shirts are $95. Okay, like the prices, yeah, I believe her. You can charge the same price. Who's spending
Yeah.
$95 on a t-shirt? Like,
Also, I want to know where people are wearing these t-shirts. Like, is this like club wear or
I don't,
something? Because I've I don't know that if I'm going to like the mall, I want to see somebody wearing like that red thing. Um,
yeah.
I'd feel uncomfortable, like rock on at the club or whatever. But fun fact, in industrial, like if I go to China and I have them making t-shirts for me, they're gonna make a t-shirt in 3 minutes. Like, that is maybe less now because of Shein putting pressure on people. Um, But a t-shirt does not take long to make. And I actually knew a lady who she used to, her entire business used to be selling t-shirts, like to companies for doing screen printing on. And the cost for t-shirts to sell to companies had to be $1. Like if it was more than $1, then the screen printers lost money on it.
Wow.
So in that case, she's right that the materials can be less than the labor that goes into it, but also a lot of times the most expensive part of making something is actually the materials.
Wow, what is this? $825.
Jesus, can you click on it?
So I believe that she is able to charge the same price because she charges a very, very, very high price
Yeah,
for
yeah. If like
yeah,
like
$825. That's
825. Dang, and I like it's like this is why I failed as a fashion designer, is I did not have the audacity.
yeah, and it doesn't seem fair that you can go online and say they're ethical and you always charge the same. And like, yeah, but your same price is it's like she is taking however much it cost her to make the 6X
Yeah.
and distributing the cost that way and inflating everything else. Like $825 for this jacket. Oh my
Also,
God.
it's you know what else? It's pre-order. So if she's making these herself, and it's only pre-order, she has no loss of making something that didn't sell because she's only making things. So that can't be factored in either. Like that she just made a bunch of 6X's of it and then none of them sold.
Oh, this
Um,
one actually only has a couple sizes. She has extra
yeah.
small, small, medium, large, and XL 2X. So she's not completely size inclusive on this one, on this expensive one. I wonder why, if it's made to order, why can't she make it in all the other sizes? And I know that she does have
Yeah.
the other sizes because if you look at her like pants and that, I think that they're 135. These were her bigger sizes. This would be like her 5X, 4X, 3X, I believe. It's her J,
Yeah.
I, and H.
Also, like, this is not me saying that this is what she's doing. I'm just curious, since those are the only ones that are sold out. Um, did she actually make those, or did she just pretend that she did and then marked them as sold out, like what Lululemon did?
Yeah, never know. Never know.
Because I don't know, like maybe like she has that so that maybe she does like custom orders or something, like if you want the J size, but just never actually produces any. Um, and I hope that, like some of it that she's saying in her video, like that, I appreciated that she did acknowledge that the plus sizes do take significantly more fabric than the other guy,
Hmm.
because that's true. And I can see it being true also that from her perspective that the real cost is the extra time. Um, I appreciated that some of the things she said, it felt like she was being honest, but I get so much marketing spin from her, and it's kind of what I expect from somebody who was on Project Runway.
Well, it was just a lot of piling on brands for being lazy. And I'm like, there's work that needs to be done. And you are not paying yourself for that extra
Yeah,
work. And if you were to grow and you would need to hire someone to do that plus size pattern for you or to do the fit modeling or like those are costs that you're eating. Or or more likely what she's doing is she's just doubling the price of everything else
yeah.
to make up for it.
Well, no, 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 no. She's definitely getting paid if she has an $850 sweater
Yeah.
or however much it was.
Yeah.
Like she's making sure she's getting paid.
Yeah. Well, I found that like a lot of her very small items are expensive as well. Like $95 for a hat.
Yeah.
Like, but
Which
I think
like
her vests and stuff were really, really expensive too. They're small. Like
yeah.
these vests are $125. They're tiny. You saw her wear one. This one's 195. Like,
Yeah. Like and maybe like because like some of this is like alternative clothing, so some of it there is more care that is needed than you'd expect. Like one of the hardest things to make like in all of fashion is a bra.
mhm,
Um and like there's like 32 like measurements that if they are slightly off, then that bra won't fit you. And so some of the most skilled garment constructors are bra makers.
right. There's a lot of
Um but also like I've made vests. If you want to get into sewing your own clothes, I recommend making a vest. Vests aren't hard to make.
okay.
Harder than a t-shirt, but not hard to make.
Hmm. Well, I want to get to the next one now. And another creator that works in fashion and believes that we should have all the sizes the same price. She uses the word privilege here a lot too, which I don't like. Anyways, I sped this one up because what the original was 7 minutes long, so I sped it up to 1.5, so it's still long, but there's a lot. She says a lot, so let's have a
Yeah.
listen.
And a conversation that we always need to keep going. So let's talk plus sizes, extended sizes, the additional cost that goes into them, the ethics behind a brand deciding to do extended sizing or not to do extended sizing, and just all of my thoughts based on my experience in the industry. As I said in my Daphne review, I personally would never ever start a brand that didn't offer a full size run. And that's for a lot of reasons. Number one, ethics. Like, my ethical moral standards wouldn't allow me to not do that. I have a lot of personal background history that goes into that. My parents were both morbidly obese. When I was growing up, I learned horrible eating habits. I have ARFID. Not gonna get into that. If you know, you know. If not, look it up. I've struggled with food addiction my entire life. I still struggle with it on a daily basis. So I grew up and was made fun of for my weight. I was made fun of for my parents' weight. It's been a huge topic my whole life. I gained a lot of weight when I was pregnant. I was the most uncomfortable in my body that I've ever been in my entire life. I was around 250 pounds, and I am 5'5.5" for reference. I know what it feels like to not be able to find clothes that fit you. I know what it feels like to be the girl in the Justice fitting room who can't fit into a size 18 or 20 and is crying because she just wants to be skinny like all of her friends. Experience the same thing in Hollister and Abercrombie, and you heard the Hollister Abercrombies of the world, their CEOs, straight up come out and say that they don't want fat people in their clothing. I know what it feels like to have zero male attention because of the way I look. I know what it feels like to have an insane amount of male attention because of the way I look. I know both sides of the spectrum very, very well. And like a lot of things in life, people always think that it can't be them until it's them. Oftentimes people have medical reasons that cause them to gain weight, trauma, other life events. You always think it's not going to be you until it is. And it's a very privileged choice to not offer a full size run for those reasons. Yes, there is a little bit of additional cost at the actual garment cost. So for example, you often will cost, let's say, a men's long sleeve t-shirt with a factory, and you'll have your standard size run, so you're talking like small through XL, and you'll have your extended size run cost, which is like 2XL through 4XL or 5XL, whatever it is you're doing. For something like a men's woven shirt, the added cost can come in based on the needed fabric width. So you have a fabric that you're nominating from a mill, and based on that width, that determines the way that they can lay the pattern pieces and ultimately the consumption. When you're talking a 4XL, 5XL shirt that has a really, really big chest circumference, like 50 plus inches, that can get really, really tricky when you're trying to cut pieces and make it the most efficient way to cut as possible. But ultimately, you'll probably get a cost, say for a men's long sleeve woven shirt, like if the standard size brand is costing $10, the extended is costing about $11.50, maybe $12. But if you are a good brand doing things right, you also now have to pay to fit on that size. You should be paying a live fit model who is a standard in that size block. Same thing for your regular size run. You should now be paying a live model when you photograph them. You're doing extra work, right? But I worked for a brand who did this, and a lot of brands decide to split that cost, to have the exact same cost split. So your small is the same cost as your 5XL. Most consumers would not know and would not care. And it's not that hard to do. A lot of companies do that because they want that size, those extended sizes, to feel othered. A lot of companies don't know how to grade extended sizes properly. They just grade beyond the standard size run, and that's not how you should do it, especially in women's clothing. They don't want to do the extra work, and they don't care to empower plus size women like they do regular size women. I still struggle with my skinny privilege now as somebody who's weighing anywhere between, my weight fluctuates, but like I'm typically between 150 to 160, and I can pretty much wear anything I want to wear. And I actually, a few months ago, turned down an affiliate link with a company because they didn't offer an extended size run, and my followers brought that to my attention, and I checked my privilege really quickly, and I don't want to put my name next to something that can't be worn by everyone, because I have been her multiple times in my life. I could be her again in the future, and not to like toot my own horn, but that was multiple thousands of dollars I turned down. It would have been really easy for me to just ignore those comments. I might have lost a few followers, but nobody would have been, I think, irate with me. So I work really, really hard to check my skinny privilege, because you also hear a lot of plus size women, like Samira is a great individual to follow. She's constantly bringing to light all of these struggles that plus size women have. They don't get fashionable clothes, they don't get preference, they don't get things in the front of the store, and nobody cares when people like her are talking about it. So more people who fit in standard size clothing need to be talking about it, need to care about it. So to recap, I started a brand. I would cost average my entire size run. I would not make my extended sizes cost $2 to $5, $10 more, or whatever it is. I would properly fit my extended sizes. If I had a brick and mortar location, the extended sizes would be on the exact same racks as the regular sizes. I have a ton of different brands. I would love to start or see somebody else start one day, and multiple of my friends could vouch for me saying this, that I have many times said I would love nothing more than for there to be a plus size women's brand who starts trends that standard size brands copy. We just don't see that. We see plus size brands having to take trends and ideas from standard size brands, and they never get their own unique and desirable styles and silhouettes, which I think is so backwards, because you have so much more canvas to work with, so many more ways you can drape fabric and accentuate certain parts of the body that have more volume. Like, that's why you see the Greek statues women be women that are very full, very voluptuous, and I wish that was more of what we saw in real life today. So thank you guys for bringing this up. I will always bring this up, always talk about it, always fight for true equality in the fashion space for plus size women, because nobody wants to be othered. I don't want to other anybody, and there's no reason that plus size women don't deserve the same amazing fashion and fabrics and silhouettes like standard size women get. every single day without thought.
Okay. That was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But this one, okay, I was bothered by her use of the words ethics and privilege because I think we're conflating like body privilege with like the business privilege. How is it a privileged place for her to be to make these decisions about to work with a company that does plus size or not to work with a company that does plus size to her own detriment financially? Like, I don't think that this was a question of she has the because she's thin, she has the privilege of choosing her size range, and if she doesn't, it's not ethical. If she doesn't, if she does not offer a full size range, she feels that it's not ethical. I don't get this at all.
I think like she's getting a little in her own head with like some skinny guilt, we'll call it.
Okay.
I really don't like the I really don't like the use of privilege whenever it comes to something like body size because the original like meaning of privilege in the like as a word used in academia was something that's unearned. So it was supposed to be about like if you and I went to a bar and they're like, "We don't serve your kind, Lydia," and then
Mhm.
they're like giving me extra drinks because of my skin color. Like
Yeah.
I didn't like that's something I can't in any way impact other than maybe I go to the tanning salon, but like
Mhm.
it's just something I'm born with. Or like it's supposed to be more or less for things like that, where it's like you can't change it. Or like you could say that there's a height privilege that like a 6'2" guy who could do the Danish deception and just be like, oh, he's a Calvin Klein model and he just looks like a foot. Um, like that would be privilege. But like
Mhm.
if you worked to lose weight, like, and you make all of the choices to maintain that every day, you should know that it's not a privilege.
Mhm.
Like maybe like academia is fine with this word moving on, but like and I'm just stuck in the past or whatever. But like I really want there to be a different word because it feels like it's putting like race and body size on the same pedestal.
Yep.
Um and I just like I feel like she's getting into her own head about that. But also I feel like she is it's like she's making financial decisions that will negatively impact her based that she herself said it's because she'd feel guilty otherwise. Well, I mean, okay, but maybe that brand had other things that it does that are also ethical that you're saying that's not good enough because it didn't fit this one specific thing.
I was a little bit confused with where she ended up in this conversation because at the beginning it's like you don't want to feel othered so that we have all the sizes together. But then she wanted plus sizes to be leading the trends, which means a brand that specializes in plus sizes and not a brand that's inclusive. Because if it really was about being in inclusivity, she wouldn't have ended with the plus size women starting trends. That
Yeah.
would be a plus size specific brand.
Yeah. There's only like so inclusive you can be before you're making something that doesn't fit anyone. Like if I like there's a store in my town that they specialize in suiting for like suits and like suiting style of clothing for athletic built men. Like I'm not their customer. I don't feel shut out because I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of athletes. So this is something that is like they're catering to a specific branch of people who have very muscular arms or like wider set shoulders. And like if you make something that fits Joe Everyman, that guy is going to be very uncomfortable because his shoulders are going to be like uncomfortable, or he's
Mhm.
going to have to size up, and then the sleeve is going to be uncomfortable. Like she wants plus size brands to be leading the charge. And I actually agree with that. I think that you should have a brand that is plus sized, that is not making trends to look like the thing that would fit like on a straight size person. It's made with the specific curves that tend to be common in plus sized people. And it's making things to make that person look beautiful. Like that's part of why I specialized in plus sized clothing rather than just making straight sizes is because I was like, that's not a tube top is not going to look good on me. Like, but I can make this other thing that will look good on me, and it'll accentuate how I have a very hourglass shaped proportion. Um, and that's what I did. And so I think that I do agree with her on that being a thing, but that's a completely separate thing from all sizes. All companies should be inclusive of everybody.
Hmm. I don't know why it is that with clothing, it's like the only thing that people want more and don't want to pay more. Like everything, you'll go for a cup of coffee, small cup, medium cup, large cup. You pay more when you get more. Like we have different brands of cars. Like, it's like you want the Lexus for the Toyota price. Like
Yeah.
we're used to as a society paying more for more. You go camping, there's a one-man tent, two-man tent, three-man tent, four-man tent. I'm sorry that you need a four-man tent to fit two bodies, but you still have to pay for the four-man tent. You can't just say, well, that only fits two of us. Well,
You know what's funny too, actually, is this is a thing that's actually kind of universal. So there was I couldn't find it if I tried, but I was looking at something that was showing the rate of inflation across different like categories of product. Everything went up because surprisingly, shutting down supply chain for 8 months gonna impact supply chain, um, except clothing, and that is because people will not pay more. Like she said that people wouldn't care if you charged more for stuff. No, the fashion industry did shrinkflation and all pretty universally bought crappier fabric to make everything out of because nobody watching this, even no matter how much you think that you will, whenever you see the price tag difference, every single person would have had a problem with, oh, my shirt used to cost $10. Why does it cost 15 now? They must be doing greedflation. And it's like, no, they just bought the same quality of fabric, but inflation happened to everything. Like,
mhm,
and I mean, maybe some of it maybe there would have been some greedflation, but inflation was happening without people being greedy too.
right.
Except for in the fashion industry. That industry, prices stayed the same. And it's because they just bought crappier fabric because they knew you and we're not going to tolerate them charging us more. We'd be like, we already pay enough for these blouses. They're already overpriced. I'm going to Shein.
One of the things I did want to bring up, they always complain about, oh, you would have a problem if we paid differently between a small, a medium, and a large. We do that online a lot. Like I've noticed that recently. In the stores, no. In the stores, like the price is the price. But online, yeah. It does cost a little bit more than a small. A large does cost a little bit more than a medium. I noticed that recently that a lot of places they are charging more. Do you
Yeah,
think that'll happen like in stores as well? Because definitely online, definitely they're doing it there.
it might. Like if I was running what I would see as a bit as an ethical business choice is making something that is going to make my customer feel good in it. And my thought, if I'm running a boutique or whatever, is if the extra small costs, let's say $30, and then the medium costs 32, and the large costs 35, that large is probably going to try to buy an extra small so that they can save a few bucks. And so then what I would be doing is incentivizing my customers to buy things that they look worse in. So if I was a business owner, ethically, I would say that my straight sizes should all cost the same, and I'll just average out what the actual cost is. But if you're online, you're not seeing that physically. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna filter by the size that I need. And what they're doing is a form of protecting themselves from inflation, where they're increasing the price for the large to what it needs to be, but they're keeping the extra small because they know that you're not going to they know you're not going to compare across sizes. You're just going to buy the one that you need.
That's right. Well, I am comparing against sizes now because
Yeah.
that's the purpose of my research. But
Yeah. But like just like me, like if I go on like, I don't know, the Nordstrom page or whatever, I'm not gonna do that. Meet Joe everybody.
hmm
I'm like, I know I'm a large, so that's what I'm checking.
I mean, well, brands do it to us with colors all the time. Like black being like the most popular, it's going to be the most expensive. And it's like, oh, you can get the sweater in yellow if you want. And like, I don't want yellow. But the
Yeah.
black one is going to be more expensive. Like they do that with colors, and there's no real reason. It shouldn't that the fabric be the same price? Like, do certain colors of fabric cost more if it's made of the same thing?
Um, that's really gonna depend, like, but in general, not usually. Like, if I'm buying more, it's actually funny that the yellow, like in the example you gave, the yellow would be the most expensive or the least expensive because they probably bought the least of that fabric. But that goes back to prices, like the cost of things will bear what the market will take. or whatever that saying is,
Mhm.
because the black is the most expensive because it's the most popular, so they know they're going to get the most profit out of it.
Right.
Pricing things is complicated.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed various like wide variations in prices when I go shopping. Like you could see the same dress, then one version has a collar, another version has like a scoop neck, another version has a V-neck. They're all very, very similar, but they're all different
Mhm.
prices. Like it's
Yeah,
pretty much the same dress, but just like a
yeah,
slight variation on them. But like one of them could be $30, and the other one could be 75, and it might just be a scrap that's different. But you
yeah,
just I don't know. I accept that it's a different product. I accept that it's
yeah.
a different product, and that's why there's a bigger price. I was also interested in now that we do a lot of shopping online, the weight. Like, don't we have to pay for shipping by the weight? Like when you're shipping, so like my pair of jeans is going to weigh a whole lot less than like a 5X pair of jeans. Isn't there an extra cost in the shipping?
Um, Probably like on some level because a lot of places do flat rate stuff. Like if I'm buying stuff at work, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to be paying more. But that's because I'm buying, it might be hundreds of pounds different. Um, but like if you're buying just a pair of jeans, it's probably going to be, it might be like a pound, and they probably have like some flat rate thing set up where as long as it fits into this box, it costs this much. Um, but you're probably, if you're wearing an extra small, you're probably like you're probably subsidizing some of the cost for plus size stuff because everyone is always going to get paid. They're always going to make sure that they get paid.
Mhm.
And they don't care if you, as a person who only spent like, you only have like a pound of stuff and I have 20, they don't care. You guys had the same size box. So like you're both going to be paying and it'll average out however much it costs to ship it.
I just think that there's like a bunch of real costs that the smaller brands are eating,
Yeah.
and making it seem like that they're just like the good guys. And I think that by making all this TikTok content of like, so the second girl that, the third video that we watched, not the one that we had, but the one before with the girl with the hat, she like started off by saying, I had a couple videos that went viral. So it's like she wants to be one of the good guys, right? Even
Mhm.
though it probably is not the best business model. Just the chance to say that she is one of the good ones, ethical, charges everyone the same until you go to her website and you find out that all the same means $95 for a t-shirt.
Yeah. And actually, like, okay, so um I don't know that it strictly applies for privilege, but class privilege, like
Hmm.
I don't know that I can afford to buy an $800 hoodie.
Yeah.
Um she's like trying to make it seem like she's one of the good ones, but she's cut out a lot of the market because of how much they make. Like the guy who she called lazy, who works for a company doing whatever he can to make the business continue to be profitable. Uh she called him lazy, but and fat phobic, but she's being classist with her prices.
Yep.
She's like, I don't want you if you're poor.
Yeah, there's nothing on there. You can't afford a vest. Like I don't think that
Yeah.
she had hardly anything that was under $100. Everything
Yeah.
like around there.
And like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she can't she's doing shameless marketing also. Just like those evil businesses that she wants to call lazy.
Hmm.
Um you know, the this might surprise people, but a job where you spend all day sitting in a chair looking at spreadsheets, and then afterwards you're so mentally drained that you just go home and you buy some McDonald's on your way. It doesn't lend itself very well to being a fit Adonis who is like a double extra small. So
Yeah.
like, so she's also calling a lot of people who tend to be a little larger because their job doesn't make it super easy to get into the gym. She's calling them fat phobic, and herself, a straight sized person, is the paragon of progress.
Yeah. Interesting
Like,
angle there. So I have just one last TikTok, but we're gonna go and talk about straight size people buying plus size clothes and if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because that's been a hot topic as well, and I want to know your input. So let's on to the last one.
My comfy queens, I ordered a 9X big crew neck off of Amazon. I'm just wondering at what point thin people are going to listen to fat people. Because we have been talking about this particular thing for I don't even know how long. not only are you taking items that are produced in such scant quantities away from plus size people, but take a look at your comment section. There is such rampant fat phobia happening in your comment section, and you're just not addressing it. And to all the people who are like, oh, but if we buy up all the plus size clothes, companies will just make more. There are so many examples about how places will just run out and just never make any more. They will just keep it out of stock. There's already not enough clothing for us, and you all mock us when we ask companies to do better.
Okay, that is it. Now, I wanted to bring this one up because I hear this argument all the time. I mean, I think about we can probably go 3 or 4 years back and think about Fat Sapphic Bro with all of their videos about stop buying our clothes, stop buying our clothes, stop buying our clothes. Now, I did some research into this and I did find that there is some truth in the sizing shipments, that maybe it's like one shipment has so many small, so many, like a lot of mediums, a lot of larges, and only a few of the pluses. So when the pluses are gone, they're gone. But my problem with this is a plus size store. Like the 9X shirt, like this is a plus size manufacturer. So how true is that if small people buy the big clothes that big people don't have them?
I mean, maybe, okay, yeah, so this run has few, like, let's say they made 100 9X shirts or whatever. Um, okay, yeah, you can't buy the shirt today, but if I sell out of my run of 9Xs and like at full price, no less, like there is nothing on the planet that will stop me from getting more 9Xs.
Right.
Um, like something I found interesting is that she said, look at all of these examples of places that had a run of plus size and then it sold out and it never restocked again. And I believe her that she thinks that's what happened. But what actually happened is is either they were testing something and it didn't do as well as they needed it to, so they didn't ever restock, or they lied to you from the beginning and they never had that. Like I used the Lululemon one earlier. They, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, they had put on some extended sizing and then it immediately, like within seconds or something, sold out and they never restocked it. And that is because Lululemon, if anybody is going to be fat phobic, it is them. It's them and Brandy Melville.
Hmm.
Like, and those companies, they do market themselves partially on, we're exclusive. We don't want fat people wearing our stuff. They probably could sell plus sizes and they could profit off of them, but they don't because that's not the market they're catering to. They're catering to the person who wants to be like, look how skinny I am.
Hmm.
Like, and Lululemon is just run by crappy people anyways, look into what the name comes from. Like, um, I am not, I do not expect an a-hole to stop to draw the line at fat phobia, you know?
Right.
Like, so some of these companies, they are fat phobic, but why do you want their clothes anyways? You want them because they marketed themselves as we don't cater to you.
So if a company has like a shipment and they get a couple smalls, a lot of mediums, a lot of larges, and only a couple of the extended ones. And let's say that there was the same creator, that Mighty Morphin Fashion. She also had another video, I don't have it handy now, but about these girls that were buying a 3X sweater from Old Navy, and she was complaining, saying these girls are not 3X. Now if they buy those sweaters, we're never going to get the Old Navy won't restock that. How true is it in the situations like that when it's not a plus size retailer, it's a retailer that sells all the sizes, and like if they wanted more 3Xs, would they have to, is it true that if they wanted more 3Xs, they would have to get more smalls, more mediums, more larges, more of everything? Or could they just get the 3Xs?
No, I think that because they do everything in a run, and this is the benefit of having a plus size and an extended size run being separate, um, is that then you can just, if you run out of your plus sizes, you can just get another order. You just get another run of that. But what it's going to do in the short term is you'll have, if every skinny queen started buying just plus sizes for some reason, there will be less of it. But it benefits the plus size people in the long run that they will be able to, then there's more buying power. Like if I'm Old Navy and all of a sudden my straight sizes stop selling for some reason and I'm pretty much just selling plus sizes, then I'm sorry, straight sizes, you're going to be relegated to the back corner and I'm a plus size store now, but I have a little bit for you guys too. Um like So it's one of those things where what she's mad about is like it might hurt the availability of stuff in the short term, which get to the store earlier, I guess. Sorry.
Mhm.
Plan ahead. But in the long term, it's going to help her. And like the original criticism of straight size people buying plus sizes was around thrift stores, where yeah, there's only one 3X green sweater, and I really wanted a 3X green sweater, and a reseller bought it and put it on their website for twice as much money, or somebody bought it and cut it up, and now there is no 3X sweater in the area. So it's more valid there, but again, get to the store earlier, or go shopping more often or something. Um, but it doesn't hold as much weight whenever you're talking about a store that is like, the more of this we sell, the more we'll stock. And I distinctly remember I distinctly remember, I think it was Gap. They had reworked their entire store. They put an investment into reworking the entire store and putting all of the plus sizes in with their straight sizes. And they did exactly what like Fat Sapphic Bro and this lady want them to do. And they started saying everyone is equal. You guys, we want you to feel like we are being equitable. And I swear I did not see a single creator who's like on the fad acceptance side say that this was good. They said, your stuff's ugly anyways. We're not going to buy it on principle. And if you do that and they lose money, they're going to stop carrying it in the store. Vote
So,
with your dollars, people, please.
what are your thoughts on the Old Navy's body equality initiative? They launched it, they flamed out, they had to go back to stuff is only available online, not as much in store. Like, did they do it right? What did they do wrong? Why did it fail? Like,
Yeah. And yeah, sorry, it was Old Navy, not Gap. So,
okay,
that's the exact company I was thinking of.
okay,
I think they're owned by the same company. So,
okay.
but I think it was a beautiful idea that it catered to exactly what they were hearing online, and it is a perfect example of why you can't trust consumers when they tell you what they want.
Hmm.
You have to trust the research. So, like, because exactly what I said, a bunch of people were like fat fab feminist, and people were like, we're not buying your stuff. It's ugly. We want cute stuff. And it's like, I think some of the stuff at Old Navy is fine. Like a jean jacket, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got several items. It's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
I felt that during that whole initiative, it looked like it was going to be a good idea, but then I heard, I don't, I didn't experience it personally, but I heard that it was harder to find your sizes because there's a big mess now.
yeah. Like, I actually early on, whenever I was in college, I remember I worked at a place that also had a resale side. And I was like, hey, so you guys have this sorted by color, but it's really hard to find the size. Why don't we sort it by size? And they're like, you know what? Go ahead. So I went over and I spent my evening resorting it by size because we were slow anyways. It was a horrible mess, and I was like, yeah, this is too busy. We got to go back to color. I see your point.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems is that if I go in a place like you are catering to me, like on some level, my job as a buyer is to make it so that it is easy for you to get the thing that it's for me to predict the future and know that Lydia is coming in and she is this size and she's going to be able to want to be able to find it as quickly as possible. So that the job of going so that it's not a job, it's fun.
Right.
Like that's ultimately what I want for you. And in some ways, I would argue that that is being an ethical business. Um, but if you have to go through and you have to sort by size, and you're like, I'm looking through 500 3Xs and I can't find, let's say, a medium or a small or whatever, you're going to give up and you're going to go over to Express where you can find that.
Yeah. Nothing, nothing makes me want to leave a store faster than when it's like chaotic. Like, for example, I have to be in a specific mood to do like Winners TJ Maxx type of shopping. You know, it's got to be one of those days and like, okay, okay, I'm ready
Hmm.
to attack the racks, you know, but the other times I don't like that type of shopping. I don't like constantly sifting. I
Yeah,
like to see the mannequin is wearing what I want to wear. Oh, you know.
yeah. And like, there's like, I forget his name, but there's a guy who he made a ton of money just by doing like all he did was he sat at a mall and he people watched. And he found the exact things that people that make it so that people are more likely to buy. And so, fun fact, if you want to see what the store wants like really wants you to buy, look at the first go into a store and look at the first thing you see to your right.
That's
Because that's what one of the things he found was actually that the first thing people do whenever they go into a store is they look to the right.
I'm gonna pay more attention to that when next time I go to the mall. I don't
Yeah.
go shopping very often, but yeah.
Some of the most anal people on the planet are people who are like designing marketing or like product design or things like that. The thing that kills me every time whenever I would do like marketing work or graphic design is um see this, would you accept this work? Look at how awful this is. No one would buy this. And it's like it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like genuinely I would like, but they're like you didn't put a bold black border around this white text. No one would buy it. We're gonna go out of business. Like that is how all of these people think about everything. Like
Right.
it is like purchasers and marketing people can be very high strung people.
I can imagine. Okay, so now that we're getting into the section of your final thoughts, I would like to know, first question, what would you like to see happen for plus size clothing? Do you think to address the plus size woman? Do you think it's a good idea to have brands extend their sizes to include plus size at a fair cost, or do you think it's better to have brands specialize in plus?
I think more companies need to be more specialized, actually. Like, I think if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. So, what I would like is actually what that one lady had mentioned earlier is plus sized companies trying to create trends, like having their own trends. Like, and it would be similar to straight size stuff, but with its own spin. But like you know, there's almost no one who's going to be in a size 24 who isn't going to have a belly. So I would love for companies to cater to that. Like, figure out what is a person who looks like this, what is going to make them look beautiful. But I do agree a little bit that a lot of companies do kind of just like make kind of a sack, and it's because they have to. So if I was making a like plus sized brand, a lot of it would look a little sack like, but every store would have they would have a tailor like how suit stores do. Like I would set up my plus size company a little more like a men's warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to actually ask if you thought that within plus size there should be sizes, like a 20A, a 20B, a 20, just because again, like when I think about like very, very obese people, like comparing Tess Holiday versus Glitter and Lasers, like Anna is small up top, but she's
Mhm.
massive in her lower area, whereas Tess is more circular. They're probably about the same weight. Their clothing size might be the same, but different proportions. Do you think that plus size should have like the different body shapes in
Yeah.
there?
I think because yeah, like I have a friend who same height as me, same weight for most of our adult life. And she's a couple sizes bigger than me, but her proportion is completely different. Like I look great, amazing in boot cut.
Mhm.
Like that is my pant shape. She needs like the tapered trouser, like almost like a skinny jean. And that
Right.
looks a lot better on her. So we already do something like that with pants where we have different cuts.
Right.
And I think that like okay, maybe it's not necessarily that like you have like a 24 ABC, but like if we're going back to our plus size boutique that would go under because you have to get buy-in, you unless you're Gap, because you have to get buy-in from people
Mhm.
before you give them something new. Um, I would have it set up so that you have different zones of the store so that it's like this is like for like these are clothes that were designed with pear-shaped women in mind. And these were clothes designed for like hourglass women. Like
Yeah.
you still do have those body shapes whenever you're a plus sized person,
Hmm.
but it's gonna like bear out a little differently than it does for a straight sized person. But I do think that that would be a great idea because this is a market that it kind of resists marketing to it, but it is a market that should be catered to, I think. How
Hmm.
many plus size people are there in America, especially?
And what do you think the price difference should be? Like if a store has extended sizing and they already have regular size or street size clothes, do you think that there should be grading like from a small to a medium to a large, it keeps on going up? Do you think that should all be cost the same? Do you think plus should be cost more because it does cost more? And what's a fair markup?
I think that straight should cost all the same and plus should cost all the same as itself. So like, and that it should like maybe a little bit of the cost is spread down to the straight sizes, but I think that it should be that the plus sizes are like a few bucks more and that it is averaged out, which would probably be like 5 or 10 bucks.
When you were shopping only in Plus, did you feel that you were getting gouged?
No, I honestly never noticed it until I saw a bunch of people online mad about it. And then, like, whenever I did notice it, I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense that this shirt cost me $3 more because it's significantly larger than that size zero shirt.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like I feel it's always been a weird problem to me because from my perspective, it feels like people just making themselves mad about something.
right. Do you think that most plus size women feel othered by the fashion industry?
Oh, absolutely. Like, whenever I was a kid, anytime I told a plus-sized woman that I was going for fashion, she always said, you should make plus-sized clothes. And but one of the problems is that a lot of people don't realize is that here's the number one reason so many companies don't make more plus size clothes. Um, I'm not about the like fat phobic ones like that guy who said that he doesn't want fat people wearing their clothes. I'm talking like your regular stores that just want to make money. Um, it's because a lot of plus size people are like, oh, I'll buy that once I've lost the weight. That is a big thing. I've done it. Every plus size person I know has done that. They have said, "Oh, that's so cute. I'll buy it in a smaller size so that I can wear it whenever I've lost some weight." Or, "Oh, it's just a little tight right now. Whenever I lose more weight, it'll fit better."
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem only for plus size people. I think all
Yeah.
people kind of do that with the smaller sizes. Like for example, I usually wear a 4, but I have a lot of clothes that are a size 2 or 0. Why? Because when I'm that skinny, I get excited to shop because I think everything looks good on me and I buy a lot of clothes that are size 0 and 2. But in reality, I don't really stay at that weight for very much time.
Yeah.
But I prefer the like I like how I look. I get excited when I'm skinny, and then I go and I buy a lot of clothes, and then when I drift back to my normal weight, then like I don't have as many items in those sizes.
Yeah. Well, you know what I would tell you is buy it in the 4
Hmm.
and then go to a tailor. Like you can have and or like learn how to a lot of things you can do by like there's a lot of like alterations that you can learn how to do yourself. I'm sure there's plenty of channels that can show you, but and it's genuinely I promise you everybody can learn how to take in like the sides. You can't do anything about the arm side, but um learn how to sew and then or be comfortable with I have it as a 4 and if I go down to a 2 for long enough, then I'll take it and get it altered um, and you can have it taken in and you'll feel so much better in your clothes. You'll look better. You'll have more options more of the year.
Yeah. You know, way back when, I'm thinking when I was in my early 20s, I used to hit the tailor all the time. I used to buy clothes like that I liked, higher quality clothes that I liked, that were not quite my size, and I would always get everything tailored to me. But then I found it getting expensive. Like I did this before I had kids, so I'm talking about the early 20s. You know, that time in your life where you just start working full time, you want to look
Yeah.
sharp, you don't have any responsibilities, so I could blow a lot
Yeah.
of money on getting my clothes tailored.
Yeah. I would say have like a couple outfits that you get that you love that you get tailored.
Hmm.
Like, because like some days you want to wear your baggy jeans and everything, but you have that outfit that it's like this is for important functions and stuff. If you have it tailored and it fits you properly, you're gonna feel so much better. And it costs you what, like 50 bucks or something. Um, like, and having one item that you got tailored, you're also gonna love it more because it's gonna be more valuable to you because you spent so much more money and effort on it.
Hmm. Hmm. Actually, this is one of the arguments that kind of upset me with the fat activists and their size inclusivity. There are lots of videos about people saying that when you're plus, you can't fit into the smaller sizes, but when you're small, you can totally wear the bigger sizes. I'm like, well, yes and no. Like you go up a size, sometimes they fall off, or then you need to pay to get them tailored, and the paying to get them tailored is more than the difference that you're paying, the difference between plus size and straight size. Like I thought it was a kind of a classist argument for the fat activist to say, well, just you can wear like a size 10, it'll be begging on you, it's fine. I'm like, well, then you're asking me to pay a cost to get it to fit me, but you're not willing to pay the cost to get the piece of clothing that fits you? Like what
That's part of
how is this fair? How is this fair?
Yeah, that's part of what bugs me about it too. And also, like, again, they're mad that people are trying to help them with the supply and demand problem.
Hmm.
Like, you're trying to increase the demand by buying baggy clothes.
Hmm.
And like they're mad at you. But like it's very much like that's my problem is that a lot of this is no win. Like
Hmm.
it's like they want me to get in, they want every buyer to get into this lose-lose situation, and they'd still be mad at us because you have to have a standard like fit model. Like even if you make everything to fit to different general body shapes, it's still not going to fit someone perfectly because especially a plus size person because you're going to hold your fat in different spots.
Oh yeah,
Some
totally.
people have some people are very blessed in the booty area. I have a pancake butt.
Hmm.
Like and no amount of split squats is going to help me with that. It'll only do so much.
Hmm.
And like it's really frustrating because it almost feels like me whenever I'm annoyed at restaurants because what I would like is for them to have higher quality ingredients and to pay all of their waitresses like a fair wage so that I don't have to leave a stupid tip and they then just have a normal human portion of food.
Hmm.
And I guarantee you the first time I go into a restaurant that does that, I might pay my bill, but I'm walking out and never coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, but it'll probably be really expensive too.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna walk out because I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, you charged me how much for
Yeah.
like a normal human portion of salmon?
And
I'm
I'll say,
never
but
coming back here. You price gouged me.
yeah, but it will be like, it's quality and we pay our servers the correct salary. It's like we all want to believe that we would support the right thing, but in actuality, as you said, we are as human beings, we're just not willing to pay for it. We're not.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. So like one of the other things throughout all of this, people kept talking about how, oh, it won't cost that much more money. I have known buyers who very much did the right thing by destroying a business relationship over 1 cent a pound. Like, if I like the thing, like, if you are ever confused, the why does he do that of business about like cost savings and why they'll like they'll open champagne bottles over $100,000 in savings is because a penny saved is not a penny earned. A penny saved is like 50 cents earned for some of these places. Like if you ever want to know how much the value of savings is, look at a company's net profits and like say a company's net profit is 5%. That means for every $100, they actually made $5. But if I save $5, then I actually saved them $100 because that is because they have that $5 of buying power.
Right.
Like and so every company is like, that is the thing that we think about the most. Like I have gotten accolades from managers for like savings that do not sound like a lot, but they are a ton because it is so much harder to make money than it is to spend it.
Right. Right. And all those differences in price, they do add up. Like not a single one of them said that it does cost the same. They say it's minimal, it's minimal, it's minimal. But the thing is, like when one of them flashed up $3 to $6 difference, I'm like, isn't that what you're paying? Like, are you only paying that difference? Is it really much more? Because I tried to look at the difference in tags a couple times and it wasn't. It was like 10-15% more than like the difference between plus and straight. It wasn't like $20 more.
Yeah. That's why I said it was a goalpost moving thing because it's people used to just be annoyed that it was like $3 to $5. And then if you notice in that one first guy's video, he was saying it does not cost exponentially more. And it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't. And it doesn't cost my plus size friends exponentially more. It
Hmm.
costs them $3 to $5 more, or maybe $10 more if it's a really complicated, really big item.
Hmm. I always thought also like the details, like the fat activists always push for cute clothes, not just clothes, cute clothes. So like, doesn't it take time to sew embellishments on? Like, doesn't it take time to add details? Like, they want glittery things, sequins, all of that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there was a
And
picture
some of
of
that
Tess.
stuff has to be sewn on by hand.
Yeah, like there's a Tess Holiday when she did the H&M thing. There was a picture of her with a model in this dress that was all sequins, and I'm like, I don't know how sequin material like does it come already covered in sequins and you cut, or the sequins get added after? I don't understand this stuff, but
So actually, I can answer that. So it does, like you buy just like a giant roll of fabric that is sequined like that, and which is very expensive fabric, by the way. Like that, if I'm making stuff and I'm making the straight size versus the plus size, it's gonna cost more, and it's actually gonna cost a lot more in labor too, because you can't a lot of those places. Like next time you look at if you own something sequined, look at the seams on it. You'll notice that there are not a bunch of sequins that are stabbing you in the side, and that is because somebody had to go through by hand after they cut it out, and they have to snip off the sequins. And hopefully they have invented a machine for it. I've only ever worked with sequins by hand for like costume shops. But
mhm.
if it has sequins, somebody is manually having to remove those. If it has glass beads, somebody has to take a hammer and smash those glass beads to be able to sew that. Otherwise, it's going to destroy the sewing machine and also potentially make somebody lose an eye whenever the needle goes flying off.
I thought about the sequins because when I was younger, I got all my skating dresses made, and I had specific rules for my mother of how many sequins I was allowed to have. I was pretty much matte on the back, and I was allowed to sparkle a little bit on the front because they were expensive. Like
Yeah.
any of the girls that had the dresses where they were completely covered and they were glittering everywhere like a little disco ball on the ice, I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that, mom. Every round of putting on sequins was expensive, and I figured I'm like, well, machines must do something now. It's not like they're not hand tying every single sequin on, but I guess they still have to hand remove them.
Yeah, like it's definitely there's a machine making it. Because otherwise we could not have you wouldn't be able even at the sweatshop prices, it would be so expensive.
Yeah, to
Um,
every one by hand.
yeah. Also, like I have some fabric that I got that it's this beautiful like 3D applique stuff, $60 a yard. And like presumably it costs me $30 a yard if I'm buying wholesale, but like that's how much like that like sequin fabrics you can get them like if I'm buying a good quality one for the skater dresses, it's probably going to be like 40 or $50 a yard easy.
Right.
But yeah, and I would assume that they have to have some sort of machine like at like these factories over in Asia. There has to be a machine that is removing the sequins to be able to make it. Like maybe it's part of like a special attachment for a serger or something because it's always so precise. They have it exactly to the seam allowance, and there's just no way that they'd be able to do that at the speed that they have to go at if they don't have a machine and make it so perfect.
Alrighty. Well, we are all out of TikToks, and this was a very nice, detailed conversation on fashion. Before I let you go, do you have any final words to say on plus size fashion? Anything that we talked about, the cost, anything?
Everything is about trying to make it so that you'll buy it. If you're ever feeling bad in a store, it's nothing personal, it's just business. And if you want to be an ethical consumer who's helping out the plus size girlies, buy their clothes.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you once again for coming back on the channel. I'm so happy to have someone who's an expert in the area because I bitch about a lot of these things by myself, but I wanted someone who knows something. So when I say like, this has got to cost more, or this has got to take more labor, needed to have someone who was an expert to make sure that I don't sound stupid. So thank you very much for your expertise. And I look forward to having you back on in the near future because you're like a pillar of this channel now.
Oh, thank you. It's always so much fun to be on.
Well, I appreciate it. Okay. Well, have a great day and we'll talk soon.